Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show, episode 505. I'm Brian Cohen, brought to you by Best Page Forward. I don't know why I said brought to you by, but I'm from Best Page Forward. I'm joined by Courtney Kenney, who has been on the show before, who is an award-nominated sci-fi author, as well as a book launch strategist. I have called you, Courtney, book launch specialist of the stars, basically. So I've built that you up in that way. How are you today?
I am great, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me here. This
Of
is this is
course.
awesome.
Yeah, you're my third guest co-host of the new era.
Awesome.
You came to mind because I love chatting with you. You're one of my Chicago buddies, and now neither of us lives in Chicago anymore. But you always have a really positive attitude about the community, and you want it to succeed. You want everyone in it to succeed, and I appreciate that about you.
Oh, well, thank you. I feel the same. You support so many authors and have supported me for years with all your wisdom and everything you share. So this is great to be here.
Yeah, well, it's awesome to have you. I know that this year has been a lot of fun. You've been stepping back from the book launching a little bit for others, but you've had some nice success over with your
Yeah.
Cameron Coral pen name for your sci-fi. And while a lot of people are seeing a drop in royalties, you're actually seeing them improve, and we'll get into a little bit of why later. But um, it's hard because you have fought the good fight on fiction for ages. You've had a lot of success with nonfiction and your side hustles with nonfiction,
Mhm.
helping authors hit the New York Times bestseller list, helping them sell lots and lots of copies in the nonfiction world. But you always wanted the fiction to grow, right?
I did, yes. I mean, I did. So I started out writing nonfiction first, and got into the world of helping authors launch because I have a background in project management.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to kind of take all the stuff I knew about how to juggle big projects and start to work with these authors. And then I did my first NaNoWriMo in 2015, and I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just fell in love with writing. But it took years because I didn't have any kind of traditional background in writing. So I had to learn a lot about craft and learn about the business and marketing, fiction. So yeah, I've tried just so many things, and I think this latest series that I wrote, it's where I finally found my voice. So
Awesome.
that's helped a lot. And I have 5 books out now, and I'm writing the 6th book, and I hope to keep I hope to keep writing and continue on and do a lot more writing next year.
An 8-year overnight success.
Right? I think that's what it that's kind of what it takes sometimes. I know I think it's awesome when someone hits it right out of, right at their first book or a few books in, but for me it took a lot longer.
Yeah, yeah, for most, and I think that isn't really encouraging, especially when a lot of authors are having a rough 2023, especially the tail end. It is tough to sell indie books in December, and I hope everybody's kind of
Yeah.
keeping the faith out there.
Yeah.
It is
It,
it's
yeah, I
tough.
think the end of this year too, it's been challenging for nonfiction books too. The book launches I've supported
Yeah.
with some self-help books, just there's so much out there, and so many new books coming out, and
Mm,
just a lot of competition, I think, right now, and lots of advertisements, and
yeah.
people are busy.
People are busy, but let's get into the show here. So, we asked a previous week's question. Or
Mhm.
actually, I will mention on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, I will be having kind of a live coaching open house for all of the coaching-y things that we do at Author Ad School and Best Page Forward. If you're on my lists, you will get an email about it. If you're not, join my list. What are you doing? I mean, I talk about all sorts of cool things going on there. So And you have a website, Courtney, that I just found out about, helpingauthorslaunch.com. What would people find there?
So they can find out about me. And also I have a little download there that has key messages for a book launch. So this is a guide that has all kinds of different questions that you can ask about your book and some of the messages around, the ideal audience that you're targeting,
Mm,
just some stuff about your, the books that you like and your reading habits. And this can all go into book launch marketing emails throughout the course of your book launch.
awesome. Well, go check that out at helpingauthorslaunch.com. Now I'll get into the previous week's question, which was, when you have gone to a conference for the first time, has it been a better or different experience than when you went a second or third? Kelsey Stelting said, yes, the first time you learn all the things. The second, third, fourth, you get more small nuggets and have fun seeing old friends. Courtney, we both had some fun at conferences. You were basically the complete organizer of the Sell More Book Show summits when we had those in Chicago.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you agree with Kelsey's assessment of these conferences?
Well, I'm an introvert, so
Mm,
going the first time is a little scary,
yeah.
especially going to a big conference like 20 books or something. So I like, the second or third time, more people and you feel a little more comfortable, you know what to expect, and you know where the bathrooms are.
Ah,
So
yes. That is really helpful. This last time at 20 books, I was like, I know where all the bathrooms are. I know my nearest possible exit for a bathroom. It was good. But yeah, I
nice.
mean, it can be tough. Kelsey says she's an introvert too, so she made
Yeah.
fun of me in a post I made in the 20 books group, saying, when I said, how to not lose your voice at 20 books, and she commented, tell me you're an extrovert without telling me you're an extrovert. It's like, well
Awesome.
played, Kelsey. Well played. Let's go into the top story of the week. As I heard some like Lil Jon playing like loudly from a car across the way. So I'm like, all right, well, hopefully those yeahs don't make it in here. We're gonna say today's story is called Jane's List. Just as newspapers have almost completely dropped the ball on the bestseller lists, Jane Friedman has entered the game, reports Kirsten Oliphant in her Create If Writing Facebook group. Friedman, publisher of the Hot Sheet newsletter, has teamed up with Bookstat to produce 3 monthly Hot Sheet bestseller lists: the top 50 self-published ebooks, the top 50 self-published print books, and the top 50 hidden gems. One thing that makes Bookstat unique is that it incorporates ebook subscription sales into its model in addition to a la carte sales, writes Friedman. Overall, Bookstat says it captures 90% of the ebook market and 62% of the print book market. Like no other service today can reveal what's happening in the self-publishing market, end quote. Each of the lists uses real-time sales data about what's selling through online channels. In addition, Jane's Hidden Gems list focuses on books that are not published by the Big Five and other large publishers such as Scholastic. Quote, I've done some light curation of the Hidden Gems list, she says, excluding test prep guides, atlases from Rand McNally, the Bible, and some others. Quote, I'll let you know every month what we've excluded or changed in the list methodology, end quote. Jane Friedman's Hot Sheet bestseller lists are free at the Hot Sheet website for anyone to read and share. Courtney, you've helped authors hit the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. That's gone.
Rest in peace,
US,
Wall Street Journal.
I know. The USA Today bestseller list no longer includes all the indies. New York Times for a long time hasn't included self-published books. It's kind of at its discretion. But here comes Jane. What were your thoughts upon hearing about this?
I think, yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a really positive thing for indie publishers, indie authors. I think that it's really capturing what's actually happening, especially with ebook sales, because the lists like the New York Times bestseller, they are looking at print sales pretty much exclusively, and
Mm.
you have to have a minimum of something like 10,000 hard copy sales to hit the self-help and how to advice list, and
Yeah.
those are huge numbers.
Mm.
And those kind of campaigns, they take place over a number of months, so it's all about pre-orders. And so I really think this is super interesting. It gives us as authors some insight into what's really happening. I love that she's including subscription sales in there as well.
Yeah.
So, and it's free. I mean, what I think I think it's all really positive that we have a shot at other lists, and yeah, can
Yeah,
see
this is a heck of a lead magnet for Jane Friedman's Hot Sheet newsletter, which I subscribe to, of course, for the purposes of the show.
that.
Um, really interesting. Bookstat, which, as we know, is run by the data guy from way back when, Abazi. I can't remember his first name, but um, this is really interesting in part because you'd have to imagine there's some kind of agreement between Friedman and the data guy here, because this is a great promo tool for Bookstat as well.
Mhm.
And if you are, thinking about, like, I remember Bookstat went really, really private. We remember those author earnings sales reports that would come out every so often and people would share. And then suddenly they went real, real dark because he was starting to sell that data to
Mm.
bigger companies. And now it makes you wonder, like, okay, this is a really interesting play for those guys, both for Jane and for the data guy. And
Mm.
so I wonder, like, the inner workings of this. I agree with you that it's really, really helpful for indies and to be able to continue to remove the stigma that some people have. But man, I'm like, I wish I could have been in the room where it happened when they made this deal.
That is interesting. It's an interesting point you raise, and a lot of people don't know, but if you do go and look on New York Times bestseller, their online list, they're actually affiliate links. So when
Mm.
they send a reader to Amazon or bookshop.org, wherever, they're making some money off of that.
Oh yeah. Oh
Which I find
yeah.
is interesting. Yeah, I don't yeah, that's and I imagine, as with a lot of these lists, there will be inevitably some things that get improved because it's not going to
Yeah.
be perfect at first and it's
Yeah.
new. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
No,
interesting.
I think you're right. It'll definitely be a work in progress, and we will have to see how it goes and grows over time. So, um, I've got a hot potato of wisdom question here for you, Courtney. Based on your experience helping authors hit bestseller lists, do you think there could be value with this new indie focused list?
Yeah, I think there could be. I think it's going to be way more important for authors than it is for readers,
Mm.
because a reader, they may not even know about the list. It's not in a newspaper like these other bestseller lists. So, um, but I think there's value in that we can see there's more transparency around the bestsellers and what's happening with self-publishing, and that can help us learn. One of the things I always look at in my business, and I coach authors as well, is what are the bestsellers doing? What does their website look like? What does their book description say? What are they offering as like a little giveaway? Join their email list. All those things are going to be educational tools. So I think this is a good learning tool as well for authors, as well as something to aspire to.
That absolutely makes sense. I love the idea of learning from this list. And hey, if we sell more books or some folks sell more books from it, great. But it
Mm,
might have more long term implications of actually understanding the trade. So that is really
mm.
good. I think you've got a question for me.
I do. Do you think that Jane's new bestseller list will catch on?
So, do I think that Jane Friedman's new bestseller list will catch on? I think it really depends on your definition of catch on. Will it ever be as popular as the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal bestseller list? No. Jane just doesn't have the same reach. She has a lot of reach, but she doesn't have the reach of those publications. But could it be something that indies share amongst themselves, that indies share with their readers? And could that eventually lead to readers keeping an eye on this sort of thing for book recommendations? Absolutely. It won't necessarily reach the heights of some of these big publications, but I think it could really help Jane to connect with more authors and readers. And I think that's going to be great for her. And she's such a great person in the indie community that her having a reach of more people will
Mm,
only be beneficial for both authors and readers.
I love it. And any additional little, bestseller titles that we indie authors can use in our marketing is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that is for sure. That is for sure. Great point. All right, we're moving into the lightning round. Courtney, I didn't tell you about this, but we like to make lightning sounds.
Oh,
So feel free. I'll do one, you can do one, and then we can start. So I'll just do a standard. Okay, I'm ready for your lightning sound.
boom.
Ooh, that's good. We needed a good boom. I think we needed a good boom mic right there. All right. So Courtney, first lightning round question. How does a fiction book launch differ from a nonfiction book launch?
Well, first of all, with nonfiction, you have when you're writing self-help or a business book, you can address pain points.
Mm,
So if a certain, if you're writing a book for entrepreneurs and they are struggling to find the time to work on their business, you have speaking points, you have pain points that you can use in your marketing. And a lot of times with nonfiction, authors also they have multiple revenue streams, right? So
yeah.
they're going to maybe they're consulting or they're also including a course with their book. So you have all these little kind of entry points into your, what you offer in terms of your services and your book. So it allows the nonfiction author in their launch to plan out certain strategy and tactics, like maybe they're going on LinkedIn to connect with this business reader audience. And I
Mm,
think that, and also bonuses, it's easier to try to, offer a training or something that you can kind of give somebody for buying, as a thank you for buying your book. Whereas in fiction, we are writing to entertain most of the time. We're giving people an escape. So it's not really about finding the pain points. It's about giving people the clues that of this world you're bringing them into, and that depends on your genre, right? So like I
mm,
write robot post-apoc, and it's got tropes of found family, and it's got hope among the ruins. So I use that in the when anytime I post on social media, and I make sure that's included in my book blurbs. So things like that I think are really important for authors to make sure that we're um, figuring out those things that are going to appeal to our readers.
mm. Great answer. Absolutely. And it's always awesome to talk to another author who does both, like me. So thank you. I think
Yeah,
you've got a lightning round question for me.
I do. Brian, it's the holiday season again. What can authors learn from the popularity of so many nearly identical holiday movies on services like Netflix and Hallmark?
So, what can we learn from all these holiday movies that seem exactly the same in their marketing and probably most of their content on Netflix and Hallmark? It is that tropes exist. It is that uh, readers and viewers like the same thing in a slightly different way. And I think a lot of authors decry this. They're like, no, what about creativity? What about my unique vision? It's about fitting that creativity in and that unique vision, at least at first, at least when you're trying to sell more books, into a narrower scope. What can I change within the context of what readers are expecting? If they're expecting found family, if they're expecting hope among the ruins, you got to give it to them. You can't skip those things.
Mm.
But how can you do it in your own way so that you do feel like you're getting that creative itch scratched while selling more books? It's not easy. It's threading a needle, but we didn't get into this because it was easy.
Yeah, love it. And we can learn a lot about branding too, right? With
Oh my
all the
gosh. So much.
like cover design.
I know. Oh man, I've seen every holiday trailer lately, and it's great. I love trailers. Another question for you, Courtney. So we just found out that Findaway Voices is now distributing audiobooks with digital voice narration. They previously did not let you do that, as far as the distribution was concerned. This is according to a post on its blog. So, do you think now Audible, who is associated with Amazon, now there's KDP voice beta. Do you think Audible will consider joining the AI voice party soon?
I would say if I had my magic 8 ball that all signs point to yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that yeah, I mean the other big companies are getting into it. I think they're doing some kind of invite only beta
Yeah.
about it. I'm not sure. And I do think it's positive because this can help a lot of authors who don't have the financial means to produce audiobooks with narrators right now. It is still super pricey to hire a narrator. Um, I think it could make more books available using this technology. And I think ultimately I get contacted by a lot of readers who are visually impaired and
Mm.
they want to read the books on audio hear the audio version, and I think this is going to help particularly those people who can benefit from this and giving authors a lower cost creation means.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And there is a KDP beta. It's not officially associated with Audible,
Oh, okay.
but you make one call and it is. So one
Right.
department meeting and suddenly it is. And so yeah, I mean we'll have to see. We will have to see. I think you got a question for me.
What does the acceptance of AI voice audiobooks by a few online stores mean for self-published authors?
So what does it mean that AI audio is now accepted by Findaway and could be months away from getting accepted by Audible as well? Well, I mean, some of the things that you brought up, Courtney, of authors being able to spend a little bit less money to create audiobooks in some way, shape, or form without having to have the high cost. That'll be a big benefit to authors who were never able to afford the audiobook version. Now, I do think that while some narrators will potentially not be able to produce as many audiobooks, I think that the authors who know their readers and who see that their readers love listening to a performance, they will continue to produce audiobooks with real human narrators because as of this moment, despite even if AI was accepted in every audiobook retailer, they are not able to deliver a performance yet. There
Mhm.
could be a day where they are. They're able to give an audio reading, but a reading and a performance are different. And so I think it means that more authors will be able to have their book in audio format. I still think that until until AI narrators can deliver a performance, I do not think it's going to harm narrators as much as they might be worried.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love in an ideal world, I would have multiple versions of audio
Mm,
where it's AI narrated and it's at a certain price point, and then maybe it's a different higher price point for an audio narration, and there it's like more like a radio drama. That would be so cool. I think that
yeah,
would be cool.
I like that. That back in the day in Chicago, Courtney, before I even met you, I was in an improvised 1940s radio station show.
Wow.
It was set at a radio station. It was in a theater, and it was so funny. The person who directed it is now like a congresswoman in the state of Massachusetts. She's amazing. Um, and it was so good, but nobody came to see it.
Oh,
Like many shows in Chicago back in the day. Um,
it,
Final lightning round question.
yes.
So, young adult author Cassandra Clare just closed a $1.1 million Kickstarter for a new book series, according to Publishers Weekly, obviously following the footsteps of Brandon Sanderson before her. Should self published authors be influenced by the success of traditionally published and famously successful authors who use Kickstarter?
I say yes. I think that's awesome for her and other people having success with Kickstarters. I think that this is really great because it's getting more widespread acceptance of using Kickstarters and more readers that are learning about it and learning that's a way to support their favorite authors. It's the better for indie authors because it's going to establish the trust of investing in a program like that. I did a Kickstarter. I helped a client do a Kickstarter years ago before it was kind of more mainstream, and it didn't do so well. And we thought it was because a lot of their readers weren't really familiar with going out to a different platform and
Mm,
doing that, whereas they were more familiar with Amazon, let's say.
right.
So getting it more wide stream, I think, is great for us.
Yeah, I have to agree. And as having done a couple of Kickstarters myself in 2022, 2023, I think that it's a good way to get more of the money because Amazon's always going to take 30% or more.
Hmm.
And if you have the audience and you can get 90% or more, you do it.
Absolutely.
You just do it. Courtney, we need a question of the week. We could go back to the bestseller list question for Jane's bestseller list. We could ask questions about holiday movies. We can leave the AI voice stuff for another day. What would you like to know about as today's guest?
Mm,
General subject. I can come up with the question if you need.
Starter. I think are
Okay,
people interested in are people thinking about Kickstarters in the new year?
I
What?
love it. So, with the successes in both indie and trad pub in the last 2 years, are you thinking about doing a Kickstarter in 2024? I'm just going to write that down. Clickety clack, Kickstarter 2024. And I'll hopefully remember what the rest of the question was. Awesome. So you can answer the question of the week over at the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group or in the Sell More Book Show website. Y'all, I think we had one answer to last week's question. So come on down, answer it, or I'm going to feel really lonely.
Yeah,
And we don't want that. So,
we're gonna
Courtney,
answer.
I'm so glad you were able to join us. You're going to be back for another week, so we've got twice the Courtney, which is always a good thing. Where can people find you? Your nonfiction stuff for launching, and your fiction stuff under Cameron Coral.
Yes. So nonfiction book launch stuff you can find at helpingauthorsLaunch.com. And then if you're interested in sci-fi, robot, apocalypse, post-apoc, that is at CameronCoral.com.
Very, very nice. And if you're on my list, live coaching Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. We got a bunch of sessions you can be a fly on the wall for, which would be fun. So thank you again, Courtney. It was great having you on the show this week.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise, always. And you'll be back next week. I'll be back next week. So for Courtney Kenney, I'm Brian Cohen. Have a great week of book selling, everybody. And we will talk to you next week for episode 506. Bye.
Bye.